Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. A fun video today. Woke up today feeling like I was ready to trade after that time off and getting back into it yesterday. So a bunch of trades, a bunch of executions to go through today. We did end up nice and green about 175 on the day, but to get there was a bit of a ride. Not even a ride, but made for a good video. So we're gonna break it down today. Let's trade. All right, so first trade of the day here was on PENN, P-E-N-N. Sorry, Dave, I don't mean to be shorting against you. I've learned my lesson doing that in the past, trying to short you. But here we go ahead and we get started. You can see it alerting on the scanner below me up into the 40s right now. So we go ahead and get started with 200 shares short right here at 48.70. And I decided to be a little bit more aggressive with this one, starting with the 200 shares, because if you guys remember, I've talked about in the past, I want to get more aggressive on good setups that I can take more shares of. So kind of under that $50, really towards $50 is towards the top of that range where I can really get some share size into it. But under $50 is kind of that line in the sand. So this is right under it currently. So we go ahead and we get started with the 200 shares here on PENN, knowing that I have plenty to add in and not thinking that it's going to get me up to where kind of that max loss is that I want to be, probably kind of around 1500 on any given day. Don't want to be losing more than that. But it starts popping more here. We go ahead and add 200 more shares right there, about 49.56. It looks like I got that somewhere in there. Now it's pushing up above 50, ready to go again. Now we get 400 shares, so we're up to 800 shares there. Now we got those 400 at 50.19, so we have 800 shares short here at an average of 49.68. So I'm like, okay, we're in 800, 49.68 average. If we can get below 49.50, I'll probably look to take 500 or 600 of those off and then see if the rest can come down nicely from there, and it'll still leave me a bunch of profit to be able to make here. So it actually does get below 49.50 here for just a slight second, but if you watch it, it's so fast on the snap down that I did not have an opportunity to get that cover. And I don't know if I would have gotten filled because of how fast it was, but right there, boom, went back down, and then it starts popping right back up. So I'm like, okay, we're in 800 shares, 49.68. This thing is still in its initial move. It hasn't canceled out the initial move yet, so I've still got more shares to go here. I've still got room under that max loss to add in more. So this is what I want to do, to be able to get into those bigger size positions to hopefully give me that nice snap back down and get the bigger wins that I would like to start getting into. But this one didn't want to quite cooperate with all that plan on the day, so it turned into more of a managing position size here, as we see. So it's up a little bit, still looking to find a spot to add here on PENN if it can push up here towards 51. So we're in 849.68, looking to add another 400 here, and we do get that 400 add on the pop to 51. Got the fill there at 50.74. So not quite towards the top of that candle there, but we now have 1,200 shares, average of 50.04. So that's good. We got the average up above 50, and I'll take that. So now I know that I'm getting close to where if it breaks high day here, I'm going to be having to cut it with that max loss. So if we get under 50 at this point, I'm going to go ahead and look to take 900 shares off to reduce my risk down on this one and kind of manage the trade from there. So it starts coming back down here and flirting with that 50, and we've got 900 shares loaded up, and it breaks 50, and we go ahead and take it right there. And we actually ended up getting filled right at 50. So not the best fill there. Was got a little bit spready at times, 20, 30 cents at times here on PENN, but we've reduced 900 shares off. And those 900 shares, if you look up at the P&L, is at a loss. So we lost $177 on those 900 shares, but we've still got 300 shares left over now at an average of 50.74. That can more than cover that loss and get us nicely into the profit, especially if it wants to do what most of my trades do, which is those fast moves back in the other direction. That fast move in the other direction here would have been absolutely beautiful. It's what we were looking for. But like I said, PENN did not want to cooperate with trading how I like it to trade today. So It is coming back down, so that's good news, but it's starting to just get very slow and hang out around the same numbers here. So I'm like, I don't know what it's going to do. Is it going to make that move down further, or is it going to jump back up to high a day? So I go ahead and I just cover off another 100 shares just to reduce it down a little bit more, take a little bit more of that loss off the table. So we went from a loss of 177 down to a loss of 193, and now we've got 200 shares left at that average of 50.74, and we're going to see and look if those can continue a bit more here to the downside. So we're watching it, and once again, it just kind of starts going sideways, and it's going sideways another few minutes here, and it hasn't done anything. I'm like, Jesus, now we're starting to run into the MA or SMA, so I just go ahead and take another 100 shares off there at about 49.83. So at least at this point now, we've gotten rid of the loss, and most likely, even if this thing goes high day, it's just going to end with a small loss, and we've got 100 shares left at 50.74. That's already about a point in the profit, so we'll see if we can get that to keep coming down here a bit further on pen. But like I said, this thing just wanted to go slowly sideways here, and that's not what I like to see in these trades. I don't like seeing them slowly sideways. I like seeing those nice moves back in the other direction quickly. Now, technically, there's nothing wrong with what it's done, but it's starting to curl a little bit, so I'm like, all right, maybe this thing's starting to find it doesn't want to go down further. It doesn't really want to go up higher because you can see all the wicks to the upside are much bigger on all these candles. So I just really didn't know what I wanted to do here. I was a bit undecisive, so I load up 50 shares and I'm getting ready to cover another half of my position off here just to go ahead and get this thing at least into the green in case it wants to pop back up to the upside here. It's starting to put in maybe a green candle here, so I'm just kind of watching it back and forth. Comes back down a little bit. I got those 50 shares ready. I'm just moving the limit back and forth a little bit, just kind of the indecisiveness of not knowing what I wanted to do here. So eventually I go ahead and I take those 50 shares off there. So now I am down to 50 shares. We are $55 into the profit, and we're going to see if we can get those 50 shares to run a little bit more to the downside. But it just keeps kind of going sideways. Just wanted to go sideways on this thing for a long time after the nice initial move. And so I just go ahead. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take another half off here. I'm going to take another half, get down to 25 shares here. I just used my hot button that time. So we're down to 25 shares. We're up 88 bucks on the trade. It's just not kind of trading how I like it. It eventually does start moving down a little bit more, pretty much right after I took the 25 shares off. So now I'm getting ready with another 15 shares. I've got to stop in now on those 25 right where I just took that last one in case it wants to pop up. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off there in the money. But if it wants to come down further here, watching the 48.50s here and seeing if it can get down through there. So it does. I go ahead and take another 15 shares off there. I'm now down to 10 shares and we're into the hundreds in the profit. So another few minutes go by and it still hasn't made a bigger down move. I just put a stop in again on those remaining 10 shares that I have, and it's either going to continue down and we'll keep trailing the stop down, or it's going to stop us out like it does right there. So I ended up plus 147 on this trade. Managed it okay. I was just very impatient with trying to wait for that slow down move. I like the much faster ones. This thing actually ended up fading off throughout the rest of the morning, so could have been done well with some patience there. Next trade. So that was a long first trade. So next trade is on Tesla. And this was kind of a different idea here on Tesla. It was starting to pop, but if you look at the chart here, it's really not that great a move. It's just broken out to a high a day after consolidating for a long time there between the VWAP and the high a day. So it's showing a lot of strength here, but I'm like, all right, I could probably get a quick move here, make some quick money. So I go ahead and get short there, 10 shares at 908.88. And I'm just looking for a bit of a move to the downside, not really even thinking that I'm going to make much on this one, but if we can get, back down towards 900, make a quick little profit there, that won't be too bad. So I'm like, okay, we got 908.88. If we get under 906, we'll take half of it and see if we can get the other 5 down towards the 900 level. So I got it loaded up, those 5 shares there, waiting for the 906 break. It's kind of flirting right there. Here it comes. We go ahead and take it right there. So a little bit of a profit there on the first leg. Now we're going to skip ahead. and you can see we've already gotten back in up to that original starter at 10, and then we just added in there up to 20 shares at 915.85. So we've still got the 5 shares from the initial. We added in 15 more from there, just thinking that this thing is coming down. I don't know why I was so convicted about it, especially after what I said, showing a lot of strength on the day, but for whatever reason I was convicted on this one, and I was only in small share size, so that may have something to do with it, thinking that nah, I got room, it doesn't matter. But after a while it just kind of grinds and it starts coming back down. I'm like, I just need to find a place to start cutting this thing off, reduce this thing down. I'm not trading this thing great. This is not the type of chart that I like to trade. So I take half off there at a loss, and we're just looking to reduce this thing out. If it comes down a little bit further here, no big deal on taking the loss on it if it does. So it does end up coming down just a little bit more here, so we're waiting for that final cover and we take it there. So lost $37 in total on Tesla over 25 minutes or so there. Not the greatest trade in the world, but got out of it with just a small scratch. All right, final trades of the day was here on Roblox RBLX, and you can see it's coming down real nicely from the highs into basically the open on the day. So I'm looking to see if it can flush a bit quicker here under the 6150s, I think is what I was looking for, and it's making a nice down move here. So there it comes. It's around 6160, 6170. I'm watching it, see if it can make a move further. There it is under 6150. So I go ahead and get long 100 shares right there at 6150. Nice and extended, and if it comes down under 61, I'm ready to go again with another 100 share ad, and there it is. It comes under 61. I put it out. I didn't get the fill, so I take out my order, and I'm going to wait and see if it flushes 61 again, because I don't want that fill right at 61. I want it once it comes down through. So we get down through again. I go ahead and add in right there at 60.82. So I now have 200 shares at an average of 61.22. And this chart is looking pretty good to me. It's real extended. It's been fast over the last minute or two. So I'm feeling pretty good about the Roblox trade here. So my average 61.21, if we can get up above both entries, up above 61.50, I will look to take 100 shares off. So I load that up there, waiting to see if it gets up above 61.50, and it does break through there. So I go ahead and take the first shares off at an 11-cent gain, thinking that we have a high probability of getting the nice pullback on the remaining 100 right here, back up into the 62s. And that was the plan. So we were sitting in pretty good position right here with another 100 shares still down there all the way at the lows. But Roblox decided it wanted to keep making more of a move to the downside. So looking for a move now to kind of restart if it gets down into that 60 range. So it starts getting down towards the lows there, bounces right off the lows for a second before breaking down. So you can see this candle has now gone from 61, 75, and we're now pushing down towards 60, all in the span of 1 minute. So I'm getting ready to go ahead and add here if we can break that 60 level. 60 being a key level that I would think it should bounce pretty hard. It might give that quick little dip under 60 with people who just have their orders sitting out there at the whole number. So I'm not going to add in before 60. I'm going to wait to see if we get a nice dip below 60 here. So sitting with that 100 at 60.92 and waiting to see if we can get the dip below 60. Kind of starts getting a little bit slower here, so I'm like, we'll see. But then it starts coming down again, hitting into the 60.10s, coming down towards 60, back into the 60.20s, 60.10s, pushing down towards 60 now. So I'm ready. Here we go. It pops down. I bring my order down a little bit just down because I saw the nice move there. So I wait here just for a second to see if I can get a better price and go ahead and add in. So there's the ad, and we now have an average of 60.40 with 200 shares. And now this time I have a little bit different of a plan just because of how we got into this one. I'm going to take 100 off if we can get up through my average, up through 60.50, just to reduce this one down, and then see if we can get, 150, I'm sorry, and then see if we can get that remaining 50 shares, up through 61. Just because this one we got into a little bit different. It was kind of a first move and then secondary move, so it wasn't an all initial move there, but pushing up towards 61 there, and I go ahead and I hit the button right there as it pops through 61. So gonna end up making 64 bucks on that one. Honestly, it was a little bit disappointing. Thought we could make a lot more than that, especially with that first move. It was looking pretty good. It did end up popping up a bit more from there, and then I'm not even sure what it did throughout the rest of the day. So that was a long video. I feel like I just talked for a long time. We ended the day up about $175. Can't complain about that. Did some good things today. Could have done some things better today, but in the end, it turned out all right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you later.